Beloved, we've been looking at various steps towards a global government, and we've been looking at the prophetic implications, talking about what really scripture said about the times we are living in. Jesus said in John 16:3-4, all this I have told you so that you will not go astray. I have told you this so that when the time comes, you will remember that I warned you. I did not tell you this at first because I was with you. We are living in very sensitive times, and then last week I showed you how major crises that are bedeviling the world are leading to a totalitarian regime, a global government. It is absolutely evil in intent, and the Bible has hinted us. And today the global leaders are not hiding their intentions. Mikhail Gorbachev, former Russian Prime Minister, 1987, said, and I quote, "We are moving towards a new world order, a world of communism. We shall never turn off from that road." Today we hear these things as if it doesn't concern us, but history shows that those who promise to do evil eventually succeed because they are often left unchecked. And the demonic drive behind the new world order is unimaginable. Hitler wrote the book entitled My Struggle. He clearly indicated his murderous intentions. He wrapped it in his quest for a new world order, a superior master race. People thought he was a lunatic. He preached his sermons on globalism, and many branded him as a lunatic until he implemented the Holocaust. We are seeing signs of approaching destruction worldwide, and the rectories are all over the place. You just need to click everywhere. You see what the world leaders are saying. They are saying we are going to make you a slave in this planet. And the Bible told us clearly in Revelation 13:16-18 that a time comes when there is a super government in place, control major things in the world. And today I'm talking about one of the things that terrorism, as I discussed with you last week, is pushing. You know, out of all the prophecies about the end time, the one that people fear, the one that sparked fear and panic and remain much speculated throughout the ages, is the one that has to do with the implementation of a special demonic mark globally. And I'm reading from Revelation 13:16-18. He also forced everyone, small, great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had a mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. This calls for wisdom, blah blah blah. But I want to tell you, it will take absolute monitoring and surveillance of every transaction on the planet to enforce this kind of system. And today you walk to the marketplace, you are able to put your cash into place and buy things. So you may think it's mere speculation, but I'm coming to show you actually steps that are far advanced, so that it will become impossible in a jiffy to buy or sell without electronic approval. Are you getting what I'm saying? The whole thing with the mark of the beast system is a sea of many waves, and one of the factors that is pushing towards that system is the issue I discussed with you: terror. 9/11 changed the world forever. You know what? There has been a dramatic change in the way the world does its business, in the way the world identifies its people since 9/11. Many of the nations are moving towards a cashless system since 9/11. And if you go to North America, almost 97-98% of everything they have to do with business is cashless. Are you understanding what I'm saying? And the idea is this: terrorists deal in a lot of cash, you know. They are able to move large sums of money across borders. So what is it? If we create a crisis that demonizes the terrorists, then we can have a reason to shift from the use of cash. We blame it on the terrorists. Yeah, they do a lot of transactions in cash. So if we can get everybody's transaction to be monitored one way or the other, then we can be able to detect suspicious characters and the kind of money they are moving. So gradually we are moving towards a cashless system. I was just looking at some summits held just, I think, this month or so. It says Biometric Summit confirms 6 federal agencies. That is just 13th of June 2012. I picked this from Business Wire, and then I just want to read part of that article. It says, although biometric identification isn't new, the September 11, 2001 attacks did change people's attitude towards its use in 3 ways. First, the event dramatically lowered the public general resistance to technology. previously viewed as invasive. Second, biometric identification was given a legislative green light. And third, the imperative to create standards and new technologies paved the way for massive infusion of government funding. So under normal circumstances, people wouldn't like to go cashless, but right, major crises have been created, and then there is a boost in the advance towards a cashless system. And today we are going to begin with the biometrics, but then we shall examine in the general context three kind of things. First, the biometric. We'll look at the RFID microchips. Today they are circulating in many aspects of our transaction. They're in your clothes, they're in your shoes, and many other things, but you may not know, and they all have a role to play in this big brother system. And then eventually we'll look at the implantable chip. Many of you may have thought all this seems to be science fiction, but I'm telling you, as we speak, countless people around the world are having chips under their skin, and voluntarily it's very attractive. So one of the things that has given the boost is the technological progress after 9/11. Are you getting this? As terrorists continue to blow up things around the world is reminded that we've got to migrate from present use of cash and other basic means of transaction into a system where the whole thing can be controlled from a central point. The man known to be the most famous physicist till Albert Einstein, Stephen Hawking, said about the technological advances that will bedevil the world and its impact. This is what he said, and I quote: "Computers can in principle emulate human intelligence, or even better it. The result is that computers are likely to overtake humans in intelligence at some point in the next 100 years." Unquote. So the point is that the elites they are transferring authority to machines to control population. Are you getting what I'm saying? And Daniel made it clear that knowledge increased in the last days, and so everything is just blending. So when we talk about biometrics, are you getting it? The purpose is just to avoid impersonation. Make sure that nobody use your identity. Make sure that everything you do, one man, one transaction, one man, one identity. And people can hide under a lot of false pretenses and do a lot of these things. So when we are talking about metrics, we are talking about devices which confirm identification of a person by measuring certain distinct biological or behavioral features. We are talking about fingerprints, we are talking about eye color, facial appearance, and even the voice. In the near future, everything that is going to be a transaction about you is going to be powered by your one or two your biometric picture. That is what I'm saying exactly. And let me look at the reasons why these things are coming up. Number one, as I indicated, a lot of terrorists deal in cash. The pretext under which the elites are hiding is that we want to move the world from the use of cash so that we can deter the terrorists. And today, let me tell you, with biometrics, it's easy to tag every citizen. If you have criminal records, if you've been to prison before, with your biometric information, a central database is created. We put there, this guy has criminal records. So everywhere you go around the world, security agencies look at you, they know every information about you. And you have to get this checked, because I'm telling you that a time is coming when we Christians, we believers, we are going to be tagged as haters under the new terrorism laws that are being that are coming to play. So if you show up and you are being maltreated for a reason that you don't know, then we are telling you that the stage is being set for such a system to come into place. Obviously, we will be out of here before it takes the demonic dimension, but you have to get this thing. So look at things. In the near future, we have churches, mosques, notable shops, hotels are all going to be having this biometric scan at their distance for security reasons. To determine who comes in and who goes out. Today you see churches being blown in Nigeria. That's the only option they have. They have to create a database, a biometric database for their members, and then put the security checkpoint far away, so that when people come, they can be scanned, and then they know who is coming, who has the privilege to come here. If they determine suspicious characters, they can interrogate them further. So it's good for security purposes. Are you getting it? Today, political rallies. If terrorists begin blowing up rallies, then people will willingly allow their liberties to be taken away in return for their security. So we are talking about the move from normal course of transaction, and it is being powered by major crisis. Let's talk about the issue of hackers and fraud, money laundering, and all those kind of things. You see that crime is becoming very sophisticated in our day. cyber fraud everywhere. People break in to steal money from other people's accounts under false identity. We may have many of them. You call some of them Sakawa. So to eliminate all these things requires that we get a technology that can reduce or avoid impersonation. And here is a technology that ensures that nobody is able to access your account or do any transaction with your account or information but you. Are you getting it? So the point is that people can break, steal passwords, steal PIN codes to people's financial accounts, but the point is that at the final transaction point, you authenticate your transaction before you access the cash. You do your fingerprint. Then that means they can steal your password, they can steal your PIN code, they can steal whatever, but they can't steal your fingerprint. One of the things that people don't know is that biometric features differ from person to person. You know why people went to register 15 times? Because they didn't know this basic thing. Yeah, your thumbprint is different from any other person in the world. So the system whereby nobody buys or sell unless he is authorized is possible now. But when he was saying it 2,000 years ago on the island of Patmos, it looks like a mirage. But today we are all gradually moving into the system. Now I want you to get this. This is not to demonize any kind of system. Of course, governments of the world don't know prophecy. And many of the things that are happening in the world, they don't know. They're only doing it for good intentions. But church, Jesus said, when you see all these things begin to happen, then you lift up your head. So look at the recent case, this social network, Lincoln. Their accounts were hacked, and then about 6.5 million of their users had their secret information at risk. So the issue of hackers accessing, breaking into huge networks like this means the final transaction should be authenticated by biometrics. Are you getting it? Should be with your personal biometric features, so that in cases like this where hackers access huge accounts and get access to private bank accounts and all those things, when they go to do the final transaction, yay, they cannot go through. Are you getting it? So there are bright major reasons why we are doing this thing. Today you go to the ATM, you are afraid somebody will be looking at your PIN and slap you later, collect your card and do some transaction on your behalf. But today with biometrics, all those things, they can sell your this thing, but they can't sell your biometric features. So these are all laying the groundwork for what is becoming known as a cashless system, or before you do any transaction, you need an electronic approval. Are you getting what I'm saying? This is very, very important. And under normal circumstance, people wouldn't like to enroll on this kind of systems for fear of their safety, and people who are aware of Bible prophecy. But you see, the biometrics is not the ultimate this thing. We'll move to other sophisticated forms, but I want you to understand that, well, the mark of the beast wouldn't be anything difficult. It wouldn't be anything scary. It would be something that is as a matter of necessity. Are you getting it? It would be something that would be acceptable, something that people will see as a necessity. And I'm telling you that one of the crises that is pushing the world towards this dimension is just the terrorism. So the global elites orchestrate a crisis, people are hypnotized into fear, and then they begin pushing governments around the world to do this thing. This thing is being done around the world. As I'm speaking to you now, India, they put in place a unique identification authority, a special agency responsible for introduction of special identification number for every citizen in India as we speak today. And those special numbers given to every citizen is to be secured by biometric authentication. And the core reasons are to make sure that government benefits are provided to the right person. So it means under such a surveillance system, your biometric feature is required for you to access government benefit or not to be able to access. Makes it possible to control who do what, who does what. But if you are using physical cards, anybody can just go and do anything. You can't trace who do transaction, how he does it. You can't do any of those things. But with the enrollment onto electronic authentication before your transaction goes through, it becomes clear that it is now possible to regulate who buys, who sells, and who do. How many of you have gone to the ATM and you were frustrated because it was not working? So imagine a global government come to place, and then I'll be showing you that pretty soon. For some kind of reason, they require you to do a certain kind of thing or take a certain kind of identification system or do something before you access your account. There's nothing you are going to do. So the world has to be gradually moved onto electronic means of transaction. Cash has to be dealt away with so that the woman, the old lady back in my grandmother's village, can also go to and learn some of these things with time, because already we have the adult population around the world on biometric system and all this kind of things. And you know, we are talking about issues of intelligence cooperation. So once biometric databases are gotten, you go to any airport around the world in the near future, and you cannot travel unless you are biometrically registered. If you are not a terrorist, why are you afraid to be registered biometrically? So the same database, you can be tracked everywhere around the world. Anywhere you do a transaction, it can show up on a screen and say, yeah, this is Mr. So and so, he showed up at certain so and so place. So as I was telling you, it gives authorities exclusive right to determine who does what and who doesn't do what. Are you getting it? So the system is being implemented worldwide. It is here with us. There's nothing we can do about it, and you just have to lift up your head. It is not difficult. Many of you have been doing the issues kind of system. It's all the same thing. The woman in the marketplace, you don't need to go to school to be able to do all these things. But the point is that cash will eventually be deleted, and then we have electronic means of doing a lot of transactions. Look at it. Look at crime scenes like this. Motorola came up with a kind of device. What's the name? It's a handheld computer scanner. It reads biometric information. So it's to enable security services as they go on their patrols. You pick up a criminal, and guess what? You can quickly take the fingerprint or the eye or any of the biometric features, and then immediately that system is linked to a central database, and you can see every profile about a person. If the person has criminal records, if the person is a suspicious character, if the person has his past, everything. So gradually with electronic system, everybody will have a profile. For me, I'm a prophecy teacher, and under the coming system, we will be tagged as people who are we will be tagged as enemies of the world government. That is, as things get close. So I won't be surprised you are traveling somewhere around the world. The security kind of people, they will be seeing all this information about you, suspicious character, but you don't know the basis upon which you attack suspicious character. So it's now possible to control whole populations via electronic. Are you getting me? If I go to any part of the world at any point in time and they want me, it's just a matter of me doing a transaction. The system will be programmed to alert the authorities. He's in Afghanistan. He just did a transaction as a sensation. Are you getting it? So we are talking about a big brother state, a totalitarian state. Jesus told us all these things ahead of time. So the days we are living in are days of the beast system. Much progress is being made. There are a number of good reasons for biometrics. For instance, you can take schools. Today in schools like US, Japan, parents can deposit money into the accounts created with a school feeding system. And then all that the child needs to do is to go and do a thumb scan, and then the food is given to him or her, and parents don't have to worry about their children who cannot handle money, who may spend the money on unnecessary things. So they also had a lot of good intentions. We are also looking at electoral purposes for which maybe our nation went biometric. But look at it, it actually eliminates the problem. But besides that, you have to understand that it's also setting up the stage. If third world countries like ours is biometric, then you can imagine that it won't be long, things will be moving really very soon. People will form queues and really be begging to be registered biometrically, because you can't do certain things. It will become a basic requirement globally. You can't travel unless you are on this kind of system. So are you getting it? We are not far from there. According to Phil Scarfo, Senior Vice President, Marketing and Sales at fingerprint sensor provider Lumidin, he said government issue ID cards in Chile and Brazil enable the intelligent use of biometrics for personal identity at banks, ATM, or service counters. So very soon you see that groceries, many shops in our country will begin requiring thumb scan before you do certain things in their shop. There are a lot of things I could tell you about that, but because of my time, I will not be able to go into all those things. I even heard recently that there was a bank announced that they are going to do ATM-less banking, meaning you use your fingerprint. Now we have the database. So it's just a matter of time, and then you realize that we willingly enroll on this system. I'm not saying these things so that you go you refuse to do some of these things. No, it hasn't gotten to that stage yet. And no matter how hard you try, you cannot hide in this system. You know what? The kind of surveillance is placed. No, you can't hide. You can. There's nothing you can do. It is a necessity. But it will get to the point. When you get to the point where it becomes deadly and demonic, that will be the implant. And I'll be showing you that one pretty soon. That point is dangerous. That one, I'll tell you exactly what to do. But for the present ones, I just want you to know that it is possible to watch you wherever you are, whatever you are doing. It is simple for the world government system to tag you as a in the tribulation. They are going to arrest a lot of believers and burn them. They will do something to them that is more terrible than what Hitler did in the Second World War. How do they get all these people? How do they, the same machine, IBM or whatever, they manufactured some devices which were used to tag the Jews during the Second World War. They gave them some kind of electronic tags and those kind of things. The same companies are responsible for many of the technological revolution. And so how is it possible to get people and track them wherever they are, unless you remove their basic means of doing things and put them on a central electronic system? So that definitely necessity, everybody would like to eat. If you are left out of the rapture, maybe you are not a believer, by then you become born again. But definitely you would like to sneak in once at the ATM and do some transaction and run back. But as soon as you get there, the system is programmed to report that somebody did a transaction or somebody attempted or so and so person attempted. Meanwhile, he's not received the new identification system. Are you getting what I'm saying? So it's setting a strong stage for future surveillance. Are you getting it? Today, if you do cash, people don't know your spending habits. They don't know your movement. If we continue to do cash transaction, it is not possible to implement such a system. But with biometric authentication, everywhere you do a transaction, authorities can be alerted. There is a database, a profile created in your name. Everything that you do in terms of business is there. So, friends, it is not an ancient prophet sitting on the island of Patmos making a prediction of something that looks like a fiction. It is a reality. It is here with us. They saw the future in advance and they alerted us. Today, the kind of technology we have today, if Hitler were to have that kind of technology, he would have accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. But let me tell you, the future Antichrist, he has a great power at his disposal. And let me show you how this thing is helping the global government agenda. Are you getting it? At the time of the Antichrist ascension to power, let's imagine the whole world is doing business biometric. People can only access their account by fingerprint. People are buying and selling with their fingerprint, not with match cash. It is easy for the Antichrist to lock access to every account and make his mark conditional to accessing your account. As I was saying, are you getting it? Your money is electronic. Access to basic things require a biometric via electronic approval. So is it not possible for a world leader to get up and say, well, in response to a major crisis, let's imagine two scenarios: a cyber attack. Imagine a catastrophic cyber attack. Global computers shut down. People cannot access their accounts. At the time the Antichrist is rising, in response, he introduced a new system to guard against future occurrences. And for you to get your account back, he said, we need a new identification system on your hand or on your forehead before you're able to do this. The groundwork is being done. Are you getting me? So a major cyber attack, they will overhaul the whole system. You cannot access everything you have. Today, it is convenient. You can move about. You can sit in your home and do every transaction via electronic, biometric, and whatever. But look at the future. Imagine there is a major problem and access to every account is locked. What are you going to do? It means it is possible to control the transaction, the buying and selling of people worldwide in response to it. You know, for the cyber attack, they are going to orchestrate it themselves. The elites are going to do it. And I've showed you consistently. Or let's imagine a financial collapse, as I explained to you before. A major catastrophic economic crunch. It is possible for a world leader to arise and lock up access to everybody's account. It is electronic. You go there, you can't do any transaction. The system, you'll be required to enroll on a new identification system. So with electronics move from cash, we are seeing possibilities of this. Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, a whistleblowing website, wrote in an article entitled WikiLeaks Spy Files Unveils the Global Surveillance Industry. This is what he wrote, and I quote: "The more technologically advanced the world becomes, the more we find ourselves under the watchful eyes of our governments, from cameras being installed on virtually every street corner to our emails and internet activities being spied upon. We must question whether these invasive surveillance measures are keeping us safe from the alleged terrorists, or just a conspiracy to subdue any resistance opposing the big brother state of the new world order." Unquote. So this is the point. People like this may like to fight the system, but church, there's nothing. We cannot fight this system. The point is that just get up. Those of you who are not handling the Church of God well, this is a wake-up call for you. Pastors who are going wayward, this is a wake-up call for you. Believers, you ask now, your life is in shambles. You are behaving as if you are not going to walk out of this world and meet the Son of God when He will tell you go left or right. It is time. It's a wake-up call. These things are happening. The system is far advanced. In fact, I don't have time to tell you everything. This is why I'm just giving you some tidbits. The realities are there, and they are very thick. And they have been working on this system for years. Former security advisor, and he also worked in the State Department during the Carter administration, Zbigniew Brzezinski. He wrote, and I quote: "The technocratic age is slowly designing an everyday more controlled society. The society will be dominated by a elite of persons free from traditional values, who will have no doubt in fulfilling their objectives by means of purge techniques with which they will influence the behavior of persons and will control and watch society in all details. It will become possible to exert a practical permanent watch over each citizen all over the world." Unquote. So that's what he said. Are you getting what I'm saying? So we have a really serious issue at hand here. The point is that the technology exists for the implementation of a worldwide system where everything you do shows at a central database. This was not possible in John's day, but it is possible in our day. And today I understand that in US you can access certain places like tourist sites and this thing without a time scan. And I learned in a certain US state all transactions soon are to become biometric. Nothing more, nothing less. You have to authenticate everything, every buying and selling you have to do with this kind of system. And it won't take long for us to also enroll on such a system, so you understand that today you are not only a Ghanaian citizen, but you are a global citizen. You can be watched not only from Africa, but from a central system. And look at what they are doing, it in the name of fighting terror, fighting terrorists. Talk to your friends, talk to your families, talk to your pastors. Tell them that the night is over, the day is here. Tell them that our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed. Tell them that the foundations of human civilizations is grinding to a halt. Tell them to get up and get ready to meet Jesus. Hey friend, get your family ready. I am preparing. Anything can happen. And let me tell you, as I was telling you, imagine such a central control system. And Jesus come. There will be, I told you, the economic chaos that will follow the rapture of the church will be massive. And it is simply easy for a global leader to arise to overhaul the financial system and block access to people's accounts. In other words, they cannot buy or sell unless they accept his new way of doing transaction in that material moment. Are you getting it? So what John said is not a vision. The time is actually coming when he will force everyone, small, great, rich, poor, free, slave, to receive mark on his right hand or on his forehead, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had a mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of his name. It is possible to put the whole global financial system at the authority of one person who determines who buy or sell. The technology is here. Jesus said, I have told you all these things. He's not telling us so that we'll be scared, we'll be panting with fear. He told us ahead of time. He said, when you see all these things begin to take place, lift up your heads and rejoice, because what? Your redemption is drawing close. That is why I cannot afford to mess up with this gospel. I pity the preachers who are messing up with God's heritage. You don't know what is coming upon you. I'm telling you, I feel sorry for those of you who are still not finding your bearing. And I'm telling you, what is coming upon you It would have been better for you if you hadn't become a preacher, or if you hadn't known the way of salvation. It would have been better for you to be on the pulpit and be doing all kind of disgusting things. I'm telling you, you are doing it at the wrong time. This is the word of God for you today. He who has an ear should hear what the Spirit of God is saying to the churches. God bless you for being on the program with me today. Next week, we are going to talk about the RFID chips. It's in your shoes. It's in all the devices we are using today. And it's all for tracking, surveillance, necessary for the big brother state that is coming into game. Maybe you don't even know Jesus Christ. You need to make a decision. The times are right. You need to pray to the Lord to forgive your sins. If you want to give your life, you know you are a Christian, you are a Kululu Christian, you are half Christian, half the other way around. Make your mind today. Pray this prayer after me. Say, dear Lord Jesus, I believe you are the Son of God. I believe you died for my sins. I believe you are coming again.
For the Lord himself will descend from the heavens with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet call of God. And the dead in Christ shall rise first, and those of us who are alive will be caught up in the skies with the Lord, and there shall we be with the Lord forever. This is the hope of the church. My name is Faith Noble Adra. Do you want to understand the realities of these end times? Dr. Linus Pauling, a winner of Nobel Peace Prizes in 1954 and 1963, said he believes, and I quote, "The greatest catastrophe in the world is approaching," unquote. What about you? Join me on the Raptured